Salutations to all our future judges. In this video, we are going to see Indian Evidence Act 1872. But before going into the video, I'd like to make few requests to our viewers as well as the subscribers. Kindly do not skip the video. Watch the video from the beginning till the end. If you skip in between, you may be missing very crucial information or very crucial aspects which have been explained. Hence, watch from the beginning till the end. And next request is, please do have a notebook and a pen with you, because various questions which have been asked in Evidence Act in various exams would be mentioned or would be stated. And in addition to this, idea would be given as to how questions could be framed in a particular section. It is very important for you. So you all need to make a note of all these aspects. And in addition to this, some additional illustrations would also be given while teaching the act. Hence, you please make a note of all those additional illustrations as well. They would be of absolute help to you in understanding the particular section. And in addition to this, various ways or techniques would be taught which would help you to remember those sections, or to say some memory techniques would be given. This would be really helpful to you in remembering the sections when you go to the exam. I hope this video would be of absolute and great utility to you.
Section 148. Court will decide when questions shall be asked and when a witness can be compelled to answer that particular question. If the question which is posed or asked relates to a matter which is relevant to the suit or proceeding, in that case, the court can permit that question to be asked. However, if that question is asked to affect the credit of the witness by injuring his character, in that case, the court shall decide whether the witness should answer that question or not. And if the court thinks fit, it can warn the witness that he is not obliged to answer it. However, in exercising its discretion, the court shall have these aspects in its mind when exercising its discretion.
Let us try to understand the first aspect which the court needs to consider. If that question which is being posed to the witness would reveal the truth of the imputation and in turn would affect the opinion of the court seriously with respect to the credibility of the witness on the matter to which he testifies. For example, if I am a witness standing in the box, a question is being asked to me, that question which is asked will shake my credibility, will prove that I am giving a false witness or I am testifying in a false manner. In all these situations, the question is considered to be proper. Now let us move to the second aspect which the court needs to be considering. If the question which is asked is very remotely connected in time or of such a character that the truth of the imputation would not affect or would affect in a slight degree. So let us try to understand this in a simple manner. If a question is asked and that question is not going to cause a great impact in the credibility of the witness or the opinion of the court, in that case, this question is considered to be improper. Now let us move to the third aspect or the third scenario which the court needs to consider. Even this can be understood in a very simple manner. If I am accusing a witness, I am saying this witness is not a good witness, he is not a valid witness, or he is giving false evidence, or he is a witness who is not good in character, then there are two things which needs to be compared: the witness's character and the importance of his evidence. And if there is a great disproportion between these two, in that case the questions are considered to be improper. Let us move to the fourth aspect. Now, a question is being posed to the witness. He refuses to answer that particular question. So naturally the court would assume that if that witness answers this question, it would be unfavorable to him. That is why he has not answered that particular question. Now, imagine there is a house. B goes into this house and steals a ring and a chain. He gives these properties to A. A denies that he is in possession of the property. Now, the court can do this. Court can say, first identify this property. Identify the said property and go for denial. That is, this one can be first, this one can be second, or else this one can be second, this one can be first. That is, the court can say first identify the properties, then let us go for denial. Or the court can say first let us go for denial, then let us identify the property. It simply says that court can decide the order in which it needs to be done. Section 149. Question not to be asked without reasonable grounds. If you do not believe that the question what you are asking, which is covered under section 148, has a reasonable ground, then better avoid that question. You cannot ask that question because your question is not well founded. It means like it does not have sufficient evidences or sufficient background to prove that your question is a justified question. Now let us try to understand this by way of the illustrations provided in this particular section. Illustration A. Let us try to understand this particular illustration in our own way or own easy method of understanding. Imagine I am instructing my junior that the witness who has come there is a dacoit. This is a reasonable ground for my junior to ask to that witness whether he is a dacoit. Now let us move to illustration B. I am in the court. I am planning to examine a witness. I am sitting there in the court. A person in the court is coming to me and is saying that witness whom you are going to cross-examine or examine is a dacoit. So now I can examine that informant. I am questioning him and he gives satisfactory reasons for his statement. He says that I have seen that a judgment was issued against him, the witness, that he is a dacoit. So that becomes a reasonable ground for asking the witness whether he is a dacoit. Illustration C. So now we don't have any background information. We straight away go and ask that person whether you are a dacoit. Then there is no reasonable ground for that question. That cannot be accepted. Illustration D. I am trying to examine a witness and I am asking him, you are leading such a pompous life. You are leading such a very comfortable life. Then how is it you get money to purchase all these luxuries? He is not giving satisfactory answers. Then I can ask him, like you are a dacoit. That is the reason you are in a position to enjoy all these comforts. That is permitted. Now let us move to section 150. Procedure of court in case a question being asked without reasonable grounds. If a question is asked without reasonable grounds, then what the court is entitled to do or what the court can do. a question is asked without reasonable grounds, in that case, the court may, if it was asked by an advocate to report the circumstances to the High Court or other authority. Now let us try to understand this in a simple manner. Imagine I am asking a question without reasonable grounds in the court. Then my opposite advocate, he'll go to the court and say, this person has asked a question without reasonable grounds. Kindly report the matter to the High Court or other authority which is exercising jurisdiction where this person is practicing. And this can also be done by the court based on the reference of that particular advocate. For example, if I am practicing within the jurisdiction of Chennai High Court, then in that case, the court can refer the circumstances or report the circumstances to the Chennai High Court based on the request of the opposite counsel or the opposite advocate. I hope you would have liked the video. If you like the video, please do press the thumbs up button and do share the video with your friends and motivate them. If you are not subscribed the channel, please do subscribe the channel and share the channel with your friends. If you feel that I've left something in this video or you want me to change the way in explanations are given for the sections, please do let me know by way of comments. Let us join hands together and contribute for a learned society. Thank you.